Have you ever wondered why bananas might cost less in one country than another? Or why prices at a farmer's market can change from morning to afternoon? Well, in this video, we'll explore the forces of demand and supply and how they interact to create the competitive market equilibrium. These concepts are the backbone of IB economics, and understanding them will help you analyze nearly every market in the world. Let's begin with the concept of demand. Demand refers to the quantity of a good or service that consumers are willing and able to buy at different prices over a period of time, with the crucial phrase here being willing and able. For example, a billionaire might be willing to buy a yacht, but if it's not available for sale, there's no demand. Similarly, a student might want a new iPhone, but without the money to buy it, there's no effective demand. Economists represent demand with the law of demand. As the price of a good falls, the quantity demanded rises, with ceteris paribus, meaning all factors remain constant. Now, why does this happen? Well, there's two main reasons. Firstly, there's the substitution effect, when a product becomes cheaper relative to substitutes, and consumers switch towards it. And secondly, there's the income effect, when a lower price increases consumers' purchasing power, allowing them to buy more. Now, movements along a demand curve are caused solely by changes in the price of a good or service itself, while shifts are caused by non-price determinants. A few reasons that the demand curve shifts could be due to, firstly, income levels, tastes and preferences, the prices of related goods, and also demographics, as the higher the population, the higher the increase in demand. Now let's move to the concept of supply. Supply is the quantity of a good or service that producers are willing and able to sell at different prices over a period of time. Now, the law of supply states that as the price of a good increases, the quantity supplied also increases. Now, what we have to keep in mind is that producers are motivated pretty much solely by profit, and higher prices act as an incentive for producers to produce more, supply more. Now, movements along the supply curve are due to price factors, but just like demand, supply can shift due to non-price factors. These include, for example, changes in production costs, technological improvements, taxes and subsidies, expectations of future prices, and the number of firms acting in the market. When we bring demand and supply together, we find the competitive market equilibrium. This is the point where the quantity demanded equals the quantity supplied and the market clears. This point is found on the graph at where price P and quantity Q meet. At this point, there's no shortage and there's no surplus, and resources are allocated efficiently, assuming there's perfect competition and no government intervention at all. But what happens if the market isn't at an equilibrium? Well, if the price is set below the equilibrium, the quantity demanded exceeds the quantity supplied. That means a shortage happens, which basically means there are too many buyers and there's too few goods. Now, if the price is set above the equilibrium point, then the quantity supplied will exceed the quantity demanded. This means a surplus will happen where there are too many goods and not enough buyers, which leaves products unsold. In a free market, these imbalances put pressure on prices, such as shortages push prices upwards and surpluses push them downwards, until the equilibrium is restored. The father of modern economics, Adam Smith, called this process the invisible hand. In his point of view, markets naturally move towards equilibrium without any sort of central planning. Now, when demand and supply balance, resources are used in the most allocatively efficient way, producing the right amount of goods at the right price given consumer preferences and producer costs. Now, this doesn't mean markets are perfect. I mean, they're not perfect at all. They can fail. But it explains why economists see equilibrium as the starting point of analysis. Now, if you're preparing for IB exams, here's how to maximize your marks on questions about demand, supply, and equilibrium. First, always start by defining your key terms. For example, define demand as the quantity of a good that consumers are willing and able to buy at each price, and equilibrium as the price where demand equals supply. These definitions show the examiner that you understand the basics behind the concepts you're actually learning and that you truly know them from the core. Secondly, always draw neat and fully labeled diagrams. Use a ruler, label your axes, curves, equilibrium points, and show shifts clearly with arrows. Because a well-drawn diagram is often worth several marks and can truly shape the way that the examiner looks at your truly answers. Thirdly, be clear about the difference between a movement along a curve, which happens when price changes, and a shift of the curve, which occurs where non-price determinants change. Many students lose marks by confusing the two, and in reality, this is one of the easiest mistakes you can make. And if you truly know the basics, you won't really make this mistake. Fourthly, apply real-world examples wherever possible. If you're talking about demand, link it to changes in housing prices, global oil markets, or food staples like wheat and rice. Examiners often reward answers that go beyond theory and truly apply it to the world. And finally, don't just explain, truly evaluate. Mention that these models assume ceteris paribus, perfect competition, and no government intervention. Because in reality, markets may have externalities, imperfect informations, or barriers to entry. Highlighting these limitations pushes your answers into the top bands and truly gets you full marks. Okay, to recap. Demand reflects consumers' willingness and ability to buy. Supply reflects producers' willingness and ability to sell. Now, together, they determine the equilibrium price and quantity in a competitive market. Understanding this foundation will help you tackle more advanced topics like government intervention, elasticity, and market failure. Anyway, thanks for watching. Subscribe for more IB economic videos and leave a comment if you want us to cover elasticity next. Anyways, thank you.